What's going on YouTube? The Apophis here and welcome back to my channel. Now look, I know I've been gone for a few minutes, but that's because my creativity I just wasn't feeling it, okay? And I'm not gonna sit here and make a half-assed video and put it out to you guys just to put a video out for the day. You don't want to watch half-assed content? I don't want to waste my time making half-assed content. I know you guys are gonna understand, and we're gonna move forward in our relationship, and that's gonna be fantastic. So that's what's going on there. I'm going to do something unusual today, and that is respond to a subscriber request. Now, I know that sounds really dickheadish, but let me put it this way. If I did everything that a subscriber asked, I wouldn't be able to be creative on my own because I would be using everybody's ideas. Does that make sense? And I like to keep the creativity to myself. That doesn't mean that I don't implement subscriber ideas along the way or things like that. It's just, I don't like my creativity to be stripped from me, and that's what it feels like. But this guy has been a long-time subscriber, a huge supporter of me and my channel, as well as a couple of the other guys that I network with. So I'm going to take the time to touch on what he requested. Now, the request was to give my response to the Microsoft executive saying, if you don't have internet connection, the system for you is the Xbox 360. I'm going to keep my response short and simple. Fuck you. That's my response. And I will elaborate more on it throughout this commentary. Trust me. I've held off on doing a commentary like this. Over the past couple days, because of E3, you guys have seen hundreds of videos. PS4 versus Xbox One, my thoughts. Quite honestly, there's millions of these videos all over the internet. All over YouTube. And I didn't want to flood you guys with another one. I wasn't even going to make one. But, as per the request to talk about the whole Microsoft thing, I kind of have to talk about everything in Spectrum to get my full thoughts across. So I'm going to talk about Xbox One versus PS4. If you don't want my opinions, feel free to click off now. I won't be offended. If you do want to hear what I have to say, well then you guys know what to do. Stick around. I'm going to warn you right now, this video might get a little long. If that's the case, I totally understand if you don't listen all the way through. I'm going to do my best to keep this short and concise. First, let's start with the networks. Okay, and we're kind of going to start with things as is. So Xbox Live as is right now is the better experience, hands down. You cannot deny it. That is the consensus across everybody. One way I can fucking prove this, Xbox Live has never been hacked. My secure info has never been compromised. On PlayStation, that shit was down for over a month and my personal information was compromised. To the point where PlayStation bought me a year of credit monitoring because they fucked up. That's a big deal. Now, right now we can't argue because we pay for Xbox Live and PlayStation's free, so a little goof up here and there, you know what, you can't complain with free. Well, that's not the case anymore moving forward. So, what I want to know is, what is PlayStation doing to their network that warrants me to pay for it? We know that Xbox is expanding to 300,000 servers. That is ridiculous. That is an absurd number of servers for an online gaming service. We also know they're going to try to give us dedicated servers for games and that they're going to cloud compute so the Xbox can be more powerful than the hardware in it. We know that's what they're doing with Xbox Live. We know that our $60 a year is going to help improve the Xbox Live service. PlayStation? They've added features such as cross-game chat, so they've caught up to the Xbox 360. That's great. They've added features such as drop in and out of a friend's game, which nobody is ever going to use, so that's fantastic. But what have they done to the service? Now that you're charging me for the service, I want to know how it is going to improve, and you haven't told me that. That bugs me. Why the fuck should I pay when I don't know what the fuck I'm getting? So one cool thing for Xbox is, while you're waiting to get match made for a multiplayer game, you could be playing a whole nother game and a little pop-up shows up and says, hey, your other game is ready. This is so funny because everybody is bitching. Well, the Xbox does everything but play games. Oh, look at this cable box. Motherfucker, you can play games inside of games on the Xbox. Are you serious? That's what that means. PlayStation, drop in and out of a friend's game? Hey, whatever, dude. Nobody's gonna fucking do that. Rarely are people gonna do that. And what the fuck do you think the join session in progress button on Xbox Live is? If I go to your gamer tag, I can join your fucking session, dude. That's dropping in and out of your friends' game. I hate to break it to you. Good job, PlayStation Network. You finally caught up to what Xbox Live is today. And they're going to charge me for it. I just want to know what I'm going to get as far as connectivity. I don't care that I'm going to get exclusive betas and early game access. I don't care about that if my multiplayer experience is shit. None of that matters to me. So that's my beef with the networks. Moving on to the consoles themselves, I guess. The games. Ooh. Here's the thing. Biggest argument I hear. Xbox One does all this and more, but does it play games? Yes, bitch, it plays games. Of course it plays games. Playing games was implied. It's a game console. It's implied that it's gonna play games. But playing a game is simple. It's insert disc, play game. There's not much more to it. Okay, playing the game is simple. So you can't really improve that experience. What they did was add features beyond that. You guys are mad that Xbox did that because PlayStation's fucking doing it too. They're not hooking up to your cable box, but they're offering you entertainment. And they hit on that at E3. So you're mad at Microsoft for giving these press conferences where they talk about entertainment. Well, guess what the fuck Sony did? Okay, so be mad at Sony too. But Sony plays games. Hey, great, good. Yes, they play games. Fantastic. When it comes to the games list, personally, I think Xbox has a better exclusives list. There's just more games over there that look appealing to me than they're doing on PlayStation. The other thing with games, Xbox One has game sharing. Briefly, I can put people in a family circle. If I own a game, I can play it all the time regardless. If they're in my family circle, one of the 10 people in my family circle can play that game simultaneously with me. Or even when I'm offline, they have fucking access to it. But only one of those 10 can do it at the same time. I'm not limited to that. I can play it all the time. Pretty simple. Works fantastic in my situation, where I'm gonna have 2 Xboxes because I game at my computer. Ashley games on the TV. If I could buy 1 copy of the game that we want to play together versus 2 copies of the game like I do now, that'd be sweet. I have friends in California, which I don't live in California anymore. What if I want to play a game with them, but they don't feel like buying the game? Well, guess what? Fucking game sharing works. That's really cool. I don't think PlayStation's lineup for games is that great. But on the flip side, I could get the PlayStation, have the PlayStation exclusives, and then make up for the gap with my PC and really play about 98-99% of the games that are coming out in the next 2 years. So my situation, I could really go either way. This is all circumstantial to me. My situation might not fit yours. Let's talk about recording now that we're going to talk about the systems. Right now, Xbox lets me record through HDMI. PS3 doesn't. Is PS4 gonna strip that copyright off the HDMI side? I don't know. But you know what I do know? If I buy a PS4 and I get home and I plug that shit in and I can't record on it via HDMI, it's worthless to me. Because my computer monitors don't have component inputs. And that's where I play my games. At my computer desk. So that's kind of worthless to me. We can only assume that Xbox One is going to continue with what they're doing with the 360 in the sense of that. Now, I know both systems include recording shit. Let's be real. That's a really nice touch. It's a really nice addition. It's a really nice feature, but it's not going to be better than my PVR or your Elgato, and it's not going to be better than a real editing software like Sony Vegas or Adobe Premiere. Or iMovie or whatever the fuck you use. It's not going to be better than that. You want to keep talking about game recording or streaming? Cool. The Xbox is going to use Twitch. The PlayStation is going to use Ustream. Which do you prefer? Honestly, for me, Twitch is way fucking better than Ustream. I already have a Twitch account. I already stream to Twitch. I've never streamed to Ustream, okay, but every time I watch anything on Ustream, it's laggy and sucks ass. Twitch is way more smooth and it's way better. It's a way better experience. I don't know why, but it is. Let's move on to the business side of this now that that first gameplay ended and we're starting to run a little long. On the business side of this, Microsoft did the whole tweet thing where they said, deal with it. Deal with it, deal with it, deal with it. Microsoft this entire time has been incredibly shitty to the consumers. Then they put out this video where they said, if you have spotty internet, there's a console for you. It's called the Xbox 360. Again, another, I guess, deal with it or fuck you saying. I don't like that. That's horrible business, and fuck you too. That's what I have to say about that. I think you're annoying for treating consumers like that. That's no way to be a profitable business. But what do I know? I'm just a consumer. On the flip side, Sony has been like, consumers, we hear you. Yeah, we love you. We're passionate about our fans. But then you put them on a big stage and they're like, instead of showing you what our console can do, we're just going to talk shit about the competitor's console. And that's going to make ours look good. I much would have rather you showed me all the cool shit, all the improvements that you're making to the PlayStation, all the reason why I'm paying to play online nowadays. I wish you'd have spent time showing me that, because that would have made your console look better than the Xbox One, not you talking shit about your competitor. So, in my eyes, we have two incredibly shitty business practices going on. One of them is against the consumer, and one of them is against the competitor. I don't know what's worse. They both look like little fucking kids to me. That's my response on that. However, we're going to backtrack to the networks just really briefly, because I just remembered this. PlayStation is going to let you play MMOs regardless of whether or not you pay for their online service. That is fantastic. My hat is off to you, Sony. Because the only way to play and enjoy an MMO is to play online. But they're not going to force you to pay to play online. Because if you don't usually play online, they're still going to let you play the MMOs. And that's really cool because for the people that create the MMOs, for the developers, for the publishers, not really the publishers, but for the developers and the design teams and the story writers and all that, they want people to play their game. I honestly believe that they could care less about money. Yes, money is a part of all business, but they're creating that game to share their creativity with the world, not to make money. And when you make an MMO, it's hard because you have to pay for an online service to play that game, so you're already making that game for a smaller fan base. But on PlayStation, they're letting everybody enjoy that experience, and that's really cool. Microsoft is not going to do that. Don't even begin to think that they're going to do that because, unfortunately, Microsoft is all about money. Okay, but Sony's doing that, and that's really cool. Always on. That seems to be a big thing. That seems to be a huge thing. Let me explain something to you. If you can go on the internet and bitch about an always-on internet connection, it's not relevant to you at all. If you have a cell phone, guess what? Not relevant to you at all. Because your cell phone, believe it or not, motherfuckers, is always on. It's always connected to a network. That doesn't bug you. What's to stop your cell phone microphone from listening in on you? And you can go, oh, well, Microsoft's a part of the NSA and Prism. Well, guess what? So is Sprint, Verizon, and AT&T, but you're not flipping out about that. You have an internet connection at home. I bet you your laptop or your desktop is connected to the internet via wirelessly or hardwired in. My desktop, for example, is hardwired with Cat 5. My laptop, however, is connected via Wi-Fi. Guess what, though? They're both always on. You know why? Because my router is always on. Because that's just the way it is. So always on doesn't affect 90% of people. Now, if you're on a nuclear sub, yes, always on is going to affect you. That does not mean that I don't think it's a shitty feature. I don't like it. I don't. But in my situation, it doesn't make a fucking difference. In your situation, it doesn't make a fucking difference. You know why? Because you're on YouTube right now watching a video, meaning that you have internet at this point. You guys confuse always on. You do realize that it does a check every day. That check takes, probably 30 seconds. So as long as you have internet, at least for 30 seconds once a day, then you're good. That's what it means. It's not saying that you have to be on and playing for 24 hours straight in order to get the check. No. As soon as it gets the connection, it's going to do the check. The check is going to take, I promise you, less than 30 seconds. So even if you only have internet for 30 minutes a day, which if that's the case, get a new internet service provider, then you're going to be just fine. So stop complaining about it. I don't like it as a feature, but it doesn't affect me. And if you can complain on social media, it doesn't affect you either. Just so you know. That's kind of where I stand. I'm in the middle. I have no idea what to do. I like the fact that the PlayStation is smaller, but if I can't record, then fuck it. I don't care. I don't like the fact that the Xbox has to have Kinect because, quite honestly, I don't have room for it on my desk. But if it's the better system, then that's great. Personally, the Xbox has better games lined up for it. Oh, but the PlayStation's cheaper. Yeah, but the Xbox game shares. Yeah, but the PlayStation lets you play MMOs for free. Okay. Yes, they all have their ups. They all have their downs. The question is, what is your situation? Which one is better for you? Is the PlayStation Network improved? We have no fucking clue because they haven't talked about the improvements they've made. They've just talked about how the competition doesn't do what they do. Or does used games really matter to you? Well, it doesn't really matter to me. You know why? Because I don't buy used games typically. I do on rare occasion, but here's the thing. I understand how that's important. I think it's good that used games exist because it keeps people in jobs. Mom and pop shops that sell video games, hey, they stay afloat on used games. GameStop fucking stays afloat on used games. It keeps people employed. I like that. But if I go buy a used game and I spend $30 instead of $60 because the game is used and I get it home and I put it in and I go to play it and my multiplayer experience sucks because the network I'm on is shit, then I could care less that I saved $30 because I can't play the fucking game anyway. Now, I would rather spend $60 and then fucking play it on a network that's great versus playing used on a network that's not. And I'm not saying that the PSN isn't improved, but I'm saying they haven't told us what's better about it. We know how many servers we're getting. We know we're getting dedicated servers. We know the improvements Microsoft is making to Xbox Live. We know the features that Sony is adding to PSN, but we don't know the improvements they're making. I don't know. What's right for you? Let me know in the comments below. Please don't start a fucking war. And if everybody can just get off my ass on social media about me being a fanboy of one or the other, for the record, I got them both pre-ordered. I don't plan on buying them both. I ask questions and stir the pot and start conversations in order to help me make a decision, not to fanboy out. And don't be mad when I play devil's advocate and it fucking shits your argument down the fucking water. If you say Xbox for the win, I'm going to play devil's advocate against that. If you say PS4 for the win, I'm going to play devil's advocate against that. Because I want to know why. Because knowing why is going to help me decide. Those are my thoughts. I think they're both doing some shitty things business-wise. I think both consoles have their ups and their downs. And I think everybody is over fucking reacting. We'll see you next time.